Praise the name of Jesus. We bless God, we worship him, and we thank him. And 1 Corinthians chapter 6 now, Paul is continuing as he's speaking to the church at Corinth. He says, he's finding another problem. He says, when one of you has a grievance against one another, does he dare go to law before the unrighteous instead of the saints? Now, as long as you have people coming together, there will be problems. As human, because we're sinful, we're broken, we've got our faults, our weaknesses and things like that, our attitudes, our words sometimes will hurt. He says, when one of you has a grievance, and that's going to happen, when one of you in the church, you have a problem with another believer, he says, would you dare to go to law before the unrighteous, before the ungodly, before people in the world, instead of before the saints? He's saying, deal with the problems of the church in the church. You don't have to go in the world and deal with those. And he continues, he says, don't you know that the saints will judge the world? We're in the age to come, we are going to be judging. Look at Matthew, look at Revelation, it talks about that. The saints of God, we are going to rule. We're going to judge the world. We're going to rule with Jesus. He says, and if the world is to be judged by you, are you incompetent to try trivial cases, small matters? So he's not talking here about like heavy criminal matters. Sometimes maybe murder in the church. I don't know, those things happen. Or it could be a case of rape, sexual assault, sexual abuse. He's not talking about those things. He says, are you incompetent to try trivial cases? Trivial cases. And he says, do you not know we are to judge even angels? Christians, born again believers, people of God, we're going to be judging angels. Wow. They're not judging us, we're judging them. He said, how much more then matters pertaining to this life? Even eternity, we're dealing with such great matters and we're going to be judging. He says, what about now? What about now? Now remember, these are people, he's writing to people who claim to be wise and smart and so on. He says, matters pertaining to this life, trivial cases, he says, you should be able to deal with them. And he continues, so if you have such cases, Paul is saying, why do you lay them before those who have no standing in the church? Why are you taking your law, and here's dealing with lawsuits, why are you taking your problems to the magistrates and the judges in the world? They have no standing in the church. Why are you taking it there? He says, I say this to your shame. He said you should be ashamed of yourselves. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Can it be that there is no one among you wise enough to settle a dispute between the brothers? And we're going to pick this up again tomorrow. Take care.